Alright, so welcome back, and in this video I wanted to cover the topic of PSP emulation on PS3. So this is another rather niche topic, but I think it deserves mentioning. So while I was focused on testing out all these different PS2 emulators, it never occurred to me to check out what's going on with PSP emulation on PS3. And myself, I have never been much of a handheld gamer, so it somehow passed by me unnoticed. I was never really interested in it, but I finally decided to check it out, and I was positively surprised at the quality that the PlayStation 3 is capable of outputting when it's emulating PSP games. So before you start telling me that this is just another unfinished laggy emulator, I get that it was never meant to be playing every single game. But it's nothing like those PS2 soft emulators that I was discussing in previous videos. It turns out the PSP emulator is in fact capable of rendering graphics at 1080p, which makes the games look absolutely gorgeous and way better than any of the available PS2 emulators. And as you can see in these videos, the image quality is absolutely fantastic. I was largely surprised that this old console can run so many games at high frame rate and render the graphics at 1080p and not just upscaling them from the native PSP resolution. And once again, I know that a lot of the games don't boot or have glitches or whatever. I think about 50% of the games that have been released for PSP actually run on this emulator, but you still have to admit that the ones that do run, they don't seem like something that came out on PSP when you run them like that. They look like remastered PS2 game or something. In fact, sometimes it completely surpasses the PS2 version of the game if you run them on PlayStation 3 as well. If you take a look at the game called Obscure Aftermath, for instance, and if you look at them side by side, here we have PSP version on the left and PS2 version on the right. Which would you rather be playing? So obviously the one on the left looks far better, and it's just one of the examples that this emulator had a lot of potential, and it's unfortunate that they never developed it further. It was sort of abandoned once they released and sold a few of the games that they wanted to sell, I guess. Having said all this, Sony still continues to release emulated PSP and PS2 games even on their PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 consoles. In fact, the Resistance game is available on PS5 and I bought it the other day. I also recorded the gameplay, and obviously PS5 is a lot more powerful and it can run it flawlessly at a much higher frame rate. But once again, Sony is not making one emulator to run all the games. They're just creating game-specific emulators and then bundle them with the game that they are selling. It is unfortunate when you go into PS Store, there are only a few specific games you could buy, but they never really try to allow you to purchase larger catalog of games. There's always so many limitations. There's always a couple of games that they release every now and then, and they may not even be the most popular or the most wanted, but I guess that's their strategy, and thanks to the modding community, we sometimes manage to get a lot more games to run than Sony had originally planned. In any case, it's still impressive what PlayStation 3 can run. So basically, once again, another feature I never cared about but discovered recently. This is opening up all the PlayStation portable games that I never cared about or ignored over the years. Now I feel interested in playing them, so this is pretty cool. Anyway, that's it for today's video, and next time I'm going to upload a video that's not related to the emulators anymore, so I'm preparing something a lot more special, you could say. So stay tuned and leave a like and all that, and have a good day.